we didn't touch you after the draft. I guess the first question is, for the most part, you kept most of your picks. You didn't trade future capital. You sat still for a couple rounds. I mean,
well, we traded up in the second round a little bit, a few spots, but yeah. Look, I thought I thought in the first round, we were gonna have to let the draft fall to us, and I think we're fortunate that some players that we really coveted fell to us, and so we're excited about that.
In general, though, with the spending in free agency and the draft capital, I mean, was there a hope that you could get through this offseason by helping the team a little bit by kind of conserving resources in the big picture as well?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that was the mode we were in coming into the offseason, is that we need to still recover from some of the cap things that happened in the previous year. So I would say, yeah, we did.
You think you kind of turned the corner in that regard, Mickey, as far as
I don't know if turn the corner is the right word, but look, I think we're making progress. We're getting back to the feeling comfortable with our plan going forward. We're always looking 2-3 years out in front, and so I think we feel a little more comfortable.
You feel like you're getting them. You've always had like a good young nucleus for a long time. You feel like you're getting that kind of again?
I feel like, I do feel like we have a good mix of veteran players and young guys, and I think you're always looking for prospects to turn into contributors to turn into stars, and I think we have a lot of candidates in both good categories.
Anything jump out with the schedule?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's always a tough deal for our league. The guys at the league office to create a schedule. They're trying to balance all these different variables. Ratings, obviously number one, and then competitive balance and merit in terms of playing on prime time, and there's just a lot of variables. So I always look at the schedule as it is what it is. We're not going to be able to change it once we get it. So once we get it, we just have to look at the schedule and hey, what are the nuances that we have to plan for?
I think some of the players in last year's draft are ready to make that jump that you talked about.
Yeah, I do.
You never want to have to choose a certain position, but how important do you think it was to find an offensive tackle that you guys believe in the first round?
Well, look, I think whatever you put in the first round is going to be important. Whether you're adding to a strength of your team, or whether you're filling a particular hole. Look, I think it was coincidental that this year the strength in the early part of the draft was offensive line and quarterback, obviously, and then we had a need at the offensive line, and strength turned out to be a good thing for us.
How about quarterback? Drafting Spencer Rattler, was that, I mean, it had to be a certain player, or you were hoping to maybe
no,
get
I think we didn't go into the draft thinking we were going to need to take a quarterback, and yet there's a guy there that you think a lot of, staring at you in the latter part of the draft, and I'm excited to get him, and excited what he did in camp, and glad to have him. I think we have a good mix of veteran player in Derek Carr and two young guys in Jake and Spencer. So excited about that.
Did his arm kind of jump off the charts?
Yeah, I think that did for everyone. This guy's a talented passer.
Back to how you've spent in free agency. I mean, I think one thing I've noticed is, I don't want to get into specific names too much, but as an example, Andrus Peat stands out as a guy who would have been a nice safety net. He's played guard and tackle for you, backup quarterback position. You didn't spend a lot of money. I mean, were there areas where, look, we're going to have to go with some young players with some depth, as opposed to wanting to resist that urge to spend $4 or $5 million on a guy who kind of plugs an immediate hole?
Well, look, I think that depends upon the circumstance. Do you have guys on your roster that you feel comfortable can step up into those roles, or you feel like you don't. And if you don't, you're going to need to go get those types of guys. And Andrus is a good example. We made attempts to get him re-signed and chose to go someplace else, which that's what free agency is about. And Andrus is a good pick for us and played for us for a long time. I'm excited for him. I know he's got a new chapter. He's probably excited about a new team, and wish him the best of luck.
You have a lot of new faces on the offensive side of the ball, the coaching side. Clint Kubiak's been here for a while. A lot of the staff got to see him for the first time on the field. Rookie camp, OTAs start tomorrow. From your perspective, how have you seen him settle in? How are they coming along?
Yeah, look, I think it's really too soon for me to make any kind of blanket statements or judgments, but clearly he's really smart. They know what they want in terms of the type of players they want at each position, and they obviously have a great scheme and know exactly what what the players are going to be required to do. And right now it's just the early process of getting that communicated. Players and coaches getting to know each other, and I think we're off to a good start.
I think the play action pass will make it easier on the offensive line.
Yeah, I think that does for any team. I think that look, it's hard to pass protect in the NFL. Talent on the defensive line, so anything that we can do to give our offensive linemen even a little bit of an advantage would be a good thing.
Ed might have just answered my next question, but what gives you the most optimism that even though he'll be introduced to a new system, that Derek Carr will sort of take the next step forward for this offense in his second year?
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of variables with that, Mike. New system, it's different coaches, but look, there's a lot of crossover between all of these systems. There's a lot of things that Derek's familiar with. He's not a new player. He's a veteran player that's been in several offenses over the years, and he'll adapt really quickly. I'm confident that, and there'll be a familiarity with his teammates that didn't exist last year, and there'll be hopefully he can stay healthy all year, and I think we'll have a good start.
How much do you look forward to the OTA part of the calendar?
Yeah, look, I love this part of the season, the off season, the draft, free agency, getting into these OTAs. There's a lot of enthusiasm and optimism, and it's an exciting part of the year.
I apologize if I forget if we've asked you about Chase Young before, but what do you like about his potential? And obviously you knew that the surgery was going to take place and everything, but what made that all feel good for you guys? Yeah.
I don't know that I've been able to. Look, I think this, when he came out 3 years ago, he was one of the best defensive prospects we've seen in a while. Had a great first season. And he's dealt with some injuries and some circumstances that are both within his control and out of his control. And you get a player that's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder and ready to prove something with his level of talent is exciting for us. And look, I'm excited because he's excited. He's excited to be here with this group, and he's been very enthusiastic. He's dove into the deep end of the pool with us. There's no toe in the water with him, and